New managing moderators can support your channel in even more ways. Cool. Close. What's up? What's up? Let me minimize stuff a little bit. I want to listen to my jams, but I know the YouTube copyright stuff will kill me. It'll show up at my house and pull a bullet in my head, so I guess I better not do that. So what we got instead is some nostalgic Smash Brothers Brawl music. Brawl is getting a renaissance. It's getting a renaissance, man. I watched a guy whose entire channel is dedicated to Brawl jank and talking about the competitive scene and like some weird stuff with it. Some cool stories, bro. The desktop audio, that seems to be pretty good. Tell me if the music is too loud or too quiet. Let me know and I will change it. Today, I'm gonna be drawing some cover art, man. I'm gonna be doing some we're gonna call this cover 2. Yeah. We're gonna be doing some cover art here. Now, this is not really needed for the digital release, but I am planning a physical release. It's going to be local, so I can't tell you where it is, but I am going to be selling a limited number of physical prints of Little Miss Steel 1 and 2. And that's depending on how well it goes. I ordered it. It's about $6 per comic or per copy of the comic. And I ordered 20 because, like I said, it's a local thing. I don't expect it to do too well. If I sell out, that's amazing. If I don't, oh well. I didn't sink that much money into it. Basically, the idea is sell some of those. $6 a piece ordering them. I sell them for $15 each, which I think is a fair price for a 60-page comic. $15. Pretty good. You're not getting something that has the insane visual detail of some of the finer comics. You're getting a cartoony style comic. So I don't feel good charging I wouldn't feel good charging more than probably 20. I feel like 20 would probably be my max. Unless it was like a special edition or something. A collab with another artist for like a cover or something. I wouldn't feel that comfortable doing any more than $20 for sure. But and not to say that my art style brings down the quality of the comic. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when people think of a comic, they might think of something higher quality as far as the shading detail goes. They're not going to necessarily think of it as a art style. They're going to think of it as like, oh man, this doesn't look as good as freaking DC's Batman issue number 575. You know what I mean? They're going to be comparing it to like the best of the best, which is not fair, but I mean, what can I do about it? It's a totally different goal. I don't have the same goals as the guy who is drawing Batman, right? I love Brawl music, man. It's so good. It has like such a weird blend of orchestral and rock. Not just to the original soundtrack, but to the remixes as well. I wanted to stream because anytime I make a post, or in this case a video, talking about, hey, you should stream your art process more, I feel compelled to put my money where my mouth is and stream art. That's just how I think, man. Yep. Stonehold. What music's playing? Metroid Prime. Yeah, all of the Metroid music in Smash Brothers Brawl made me kind of intrigued for Metroid. I never did get a game though. Played just the beginning of Metroid Prime on the good old GameCube, but I never really got past anything else. That game did get remastered, so maybe I should pick up the remaster. But yeah, I also figured I'd stream because the video I released might be a little controversial depending on who you like and who you don't like. I'm fully aware that some people, I'm going to get some bad comments and I'm going to, well, not bad comments necessarily, but I'm going to get some angry comments and I'm going to get some supportive comments from people of all sides. And this is what I sign up for by being, I guess for lack of a better word, more centrist when it comes to drama and just frankly a lot of things in life. Not that I don't, it's not like I don't take a side, it's just I don't feel the need to take such an aggressive side in a lot of things. Like, I'm willing to see the flaws in multiple areas of multiple different perspectives. I try not to blind myself to one perspective. I try looking at things with different lenses so I can understand people better instead of just saying like, you're wrong, I disagree with you. I like to do a little, hey, why do you disagree with me? And is it something I can understand? That's what I kind of try to do. And there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of that on Twitter, or especially not Blue Sky right now. I did a little experiment. And Twitter, I scrolled for about like 10 minutes. Got like 4 political posts I didn't care about, which includes anything Elon Musk post. And then I scrolled for like 10 minutes on Blue Sky. I got like 10 political posts that I don't care to see. Most of them, surprise, surprise, about Thanksgiving and why we shouldn't celebrate. My response to that is, more turkey, please. No, I actually don't like turkey. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't prefer turkey. Let me put it that way. I don't prefer turkey. If you put a plate of ham versus a plate of turkey in front of me, I'm going to choose the ham every day. I never order turkey at restaurants. Now, I will occasionally get turkey lunch meat. That's a totally different kind of turkey. It's not the same. So, I just realized I'm doing this wrong. This should be outer 2. This should be outer 1. Ugh. Excuse me. I just had some spurt. So I might be a little burpy today. Who knows? But anyway, I wanted to stream just in case, like, you know. Oh, hello, random human. I just wanted to stream in case anyone had any questions about like the video, like wanted to ask me stuff about it. Because I do like engaging in the comments whenever like the comments are civil and level-headed. But most of the time, whenever I do a review, and it's usually only any Comicsgate related or Rippaverse related comic reviews. Usually I get some pretty scathing comments from people, and it's like, I would prefer if we could just like have a normal conversation, like you know, normal people. But you guys are a lot of times, these guys are so far up their favorite creator's butthole that they can't smell the roses for the tulips. That makes sense, right? I'm gonna pretend that makes sense and that I'm philosophical. Let me detach the chat so I can minimize. No, I can't minimize OBS. No, I want to detach it. I can't detach it, man. It's stuck. It's part of it. Oh yeah, I remember this song. This song always kind of weirded me out as a kid. I'm like, what is he saying? And by kid, I mean like, how old was I? Like, I was probably 13 when I played Brawl. Top comment of the song: so fudging good. This theme makes me want to shed a tear. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Yeah, I figured I'd, if anyone has a comment about the latest video, we can have a live discussion about it. A live debate, if you will. Because it's like, I know it's the type of video that, like, a lot of people will probably have a problem with. I'm debating if I should even include this. I'll take it off. Alright, so that's outer... That's the outer lines for Stonehold. Let's start working on the inner stuff. It is a great theme. It is a great little remix, for sure. But yeah, if this is your first time watching me draw, this is my creative process, is to draw it physically on pencil and paper, bring it into my photo editing software of choice, Paint.net. Let's go, Paint.net. We love free photo editing software, don't we, folks? Don't we, folks? We love it, folks. We do. We love it when it's free, people. We love it when it's free. I'm sorry, I had to do it. I mean, who would turn away from free software? I mean, it's basically just Photoshop but free, man. little bit longer. But yeah, little thing about Stonehold, which is the character I'm drawing now. Little thing about Stonehold. Stonehold is actually one of the oldest original characters, if not actually, I think the oldest original characters I have ever made. I made it back when I was like probably 10, 11. I got really into Pokemon around that time. And Yu-Gi-Oh! And I started drawing my own Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters. And from like, you know, the naming conventions of, you know, stuff like Magmar in Pokemon, you know, Fire Red, Leaf Green. You know, Magmar kind of gave the naming scheme, gave birth to Mudmar, which was Stonehold's original name, was Mudmar, and it kind of it worked its way into the novelization of Little Miss Steel, which is like it's talking about him being which you know, with a book you can be a bit more wordy, a bit more detailed. In backstories and stuff like that, and dialogue, whereas in comics you got to keep it going, you got to keep things a little bit more faster paced. And it went into more detail about Stonehold being a mud Martian. So like, you know, a Mudmar, right? A mud Martian, that he's from Mars. But instead, I ended up, for the comic, I ended up going with the idea that he's from a planet called Mudvania, which is a much better reference that people will actually get, as opposed to just a personal reference I and maybe my brother will get. Mudvayne, the 2000s, slash, I think they were the 90s too. I think they started in the 90s, but they got big in the 2000s. Nu metal band. Overall, a very, very unique sound. For sure. Ding. That's all I really have to say, and I think most of you know them. Whether you like them or not, you probably know that song. Nah, let's do it this way. This song is so beautiful, man. It doesn't make me want to cry like the guy who was listening to the Metroid song, but it is like, it is a very orchestral, very beautiful song. But yeah, so Stonehold, originally named Mudmar, is like my oldest original character ever, and it was a Pokemon OC. But yeah, and then a lot of the designs from my book, which is on hiatus, Symbiotic. A lot of the designs for those characters are literally just Pokemon Jijinkas. Which, if you said Gesundheit, I don't blame you. Jijinka is the widely known process of making, like, you know, Pokemon, or not necessarily only Pokemon, but like it's primarily Pokemon that you see, but it's other, like, you know, like it might be a Yu-Gi-Oh monster, or you know, a Digimon, or other things like that, where it's like creatures drawn as humans with clothing / armor themed after the Pokemon or character, or, you know, creature character from whatever series you're making it from. It's themed after, like, how they look. So, like, for instance, my Sceptile Jijinka that I would draw, which was just me, is a skinny guy with a sword called the Leaf Blade. Very original, I know. And green clothing, some like seed grenades. Oh, powder too. And just stuff like that. Some armor. The most unique thing I think about my design was that the shoulder blades looked like the tail of Sceptile. And maybe that's not unique at all, but at the time I remember I didn't see anyone else doing that, so I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make the tail the shoulder blades. And like if I drew it now, it would look way better than it did when I was like 15 drawing it thinking I was cool. But they don't know I draw Pokemon Jijinkas of myself and friends. Because I would do that. I wouldn't just draw myself. I would draw friends with their favorite, like as Jijinkas of their favorite Pokemon. That's honestly like I think the reason why I started drawing people to begin with. Because before I was only drawing like I was trying to draw Transformers, which was difficult because I'm terrible at drawing vehicles. Working on it though, getting better. Monsters, Pokemon. I just never really drew. I just never really drew a lot of people until I started drawing Jijinka of Pokemon. And it's something that, like, honestly, I might want to come back to try and doing someday. Because especially, like, my later years of doing it, I think the last time I drew it was probably when I was, like, 22. Was probably the last time I drew any Jijinka. And by that point, like, I had just forgotten the whole, left the whole drawing my friends is their favorite Pokemon thing behind and just started drawing characters. That was like that era. I think is when I think pretty much all the Symbiotic characters come from that era where, like, into my early 20s where I just started trying to do character design more than trying to just draw me or my friends. That's where a lot of the designs for Symbiotic came from. It's stuff like that. Because Como, one of the main characters in Symbiotic, Como was obviously Kommo-o, which I think that Pokemon came out in like 2016? Yeah, 2016. So 2016, I was 19. So Komo's design is probably like 8 years old now. 7 to 8 years old. I'm done with the lines on Stonehold. I'm going to do the shading first, and then I'm going to do the coloring. And I might need to make a second shading layer for Stonehold. We'll see. I will go ahead and turn off the background layer. It's such a good song, man. I'm telling you, man, the Brawl soundtrack. While Brawl is like the worst Smash Brothers game, and I mean that with like as least amount of I guess distaste. It's the worst game in a series of phenomenal games. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just it's bad competitively. And that's like the only thing I'll say about it, because story mode, it was great. Single player, it was great. Graphics for the time, it was great. Hyper realistic Mario and Bowser with scales. This will be Pokemon graphics in 2015. Was basically that game. I feel like that game kind of started that meme, if I'm correct. I feel like it did. Because it definitely felt like after that game released, I started seeing memes like that. Correlation does not equal causation, but it did kind of start at a seemingly perfect time. Maybe I go a little bigger with this. But speaking of graphics, and you know, Nintendo graphics in 2015, Pokemon is suing Palworld, and that infuriates me. Cause like initially there was like a lot of hate for Palworld because it looked like they just had AI generated Pokemon. They did not use AI to generate the Pokemon. Though I can understand like thinking it, because some of the designs do look very similar to Pokemon, right? Some of them have similar aspects, for sure. I'm not denying that. But I don't think they straight up just ripped off Pokemon. And if they had similar designs and the game was bad, then yeah, obviously that would not be great. But the game is good. The game is fun to play. I haven't played in a little bit, and I feel like I need to. I feel like I need to go back and play it again. I got a little bit bored of the gameplay loop at the time when the game like first released. It didn't have nearly as much content to it. But honestly, like the main reason I picked up the game in the first place was because I want Pokemon to have competition so that they make their games better. Let me change the song. Butter Building. Nah, this isn't what I wanted. Go back to, what was this? Planet Colors. What was this one? Okay. This was around the time Nintendo was starting to learn electronics in their music, and you can tell. Like they were being a little more experimental during this time. But you know, I want Pokemon to have competition because Pokemon games have just not been good. I did not play Gen 9 because I thought the graphics and the state of the game was so unacceptable that I did not want to give them my money. I did the same thing with Gen 8. I didn't want to get Generation 8, but my mom for Christmas got me a GameStop gift card, and there was no other game at the time that I wanted to get, so I was like, okay, I'll get Pokemon. Played it with my brother because he got Sword, I got Shield. Biggest competitive nerf I ever did receive. But basically the game, like, just it felt soulless, it felt cheap, and I felt like I've played much better before. I played it for about like a month and then dropped it. because it just wasn't fulfilling. Did not enjoy it. And I still haven't picked it back up. And I'm not getting Gen 9, like I said. I'm not doing that one, so I honestly think the only way I would play Gen 9 is if like I put it in an emulator, offloaded my brother's game, so this way, you know, it's not just a straight up pirated version of the game. It's like my brother's game, just offloaded from the Switch onto my computer, so it would actually run properly. And I heard that's what a lot of people who wanted to play the game but couldn't do it on their Switch, because, like, I have a Generation 1 Switch. My Switch is not running that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my Switch is not going to run that game. Like, you know, newer Switches can barely run the game. What chance do I have? What chance do I have at playing Scarlet and Violet on a Generation 1 Switch? The answer is none. So am I saying piracy is based? No. I'm saying emulation is based. But that's kind of the only way I think I would ever play that game. Is like taking my brother's and just dumping it onto an emulator. But the Switch emulators have been getting hit one after the other, man. And I don't know if maybe it'll get better once Switch 2 comes out. Maybe Nintendo will be a little less lethal with the takedowns of emulators for the Switch after that. I watched a video. I watched a video talking about the main reason why Pokemon Showdown hasn't been copyright struck by Pokemon. And that's always a question I've been wondering. I'm like, at any point, Pokemon Showdown can just pull the trigger and delete it. And it's true. At any point, they totally can. They have, you know, legal authority to do that, which sucks. But the proposed theory of why they haven't yet is because Pokemon Showdown is a net positive for Game Freak, who does not promote the competitive side of their game very much at all. All they do basically is just VGC. That's it. Like, they just do VGC, and it's doubles. It's not singles. They've never really done singles. So it's something that it's advantageous of them to let Showdown live, because it reaches a side of the community that they cannot. Okay, I need to do the cracks now. Yerp. This song is so hype. I want an F-Zero game. I want, like, an actual F-Zero game. Because, like, they haven't had one in decades. They make some good remixes, man. Alright, new crack time. Me when I'm addicted to crack. New crack time. I've learned to be resourceful and reuse stuff. as long as it doesn't, like, you know, make it like, okay, this guy is just copy and pasting the one same artwork every single page. Like, without getting to that point, I do love to reuse patterns and the occasional artwork. I'll reuse it. Just in a different... I can't really use it there. In a different, you know, way. I've changed up the emotion of the character, or I've changed up the lighting of the character, or you know, something like that. It's never the exact same as it was on the previous page, but it makes sense. Why would you draw the same character doing an extremely similar thing on another page, like every single page drawing basically the same, like, you know, just, it just doesn't make sense. So I finally decided I'm gonna stop pretending that that's a bad thing to do and start being smart. Yeah. Alright, time to color Stonehold. Character artworks. Let me find him. There he is. There's the boy. Let me move my folder over here. I don't want to spoil any artworks by accident. First of all, the eyes. Let's do a check. Make sure I didn't do anything on the top inner layers. Okay, yeah, everything's good. Oh, I forgot. I gotta increase the tolerance to 80. Because now I can do this. Check out how easy it is. I'll turn the shading off for just a moment. There we go. This is coming together. Now, I also have somewhere in assets. Yeah, there it is, the mud. So I just have a mud image. That I created just for Stonehold. To use for situations like this, where instead of making like a unique pattern every time, it's almost like, you know how, if you ever watched Chowder, you know how the character's clothing often was like a texture that stayed in place as the characters move, so it made it look like the texture is moving, but no, it's the characters moving, and the texture of their shirts and pants and stuff are staying the same. I always thought that was a really cool visual. I always thought that was a really cool visual. So when it came time to bring Stonehold, oops. Oh, I forgot to put one there. Okay, well, I'll do it in a minute. Yeah. But I always thought that was a cool looking Chowder. So I decided to replicate it for this. Oh yeah, he's looking cool. He's looking cool. Let's go ahead and merge this with the color layer. Turn that off for a second. Yeah. He's looking cool. He's definitely looking scary. Alright, let me save. Cover 2, PDN. Yep. Let me get some different music. This one I've been playing for like 7.5 minutes. See this one, Bloody Tears / Monster Dash from Ultimate. Pretty good. I think I'll add some shading like this to show, you know, some depth a little bit. Like the upper body is so big that it's, you know, it's overshadowing the his stomach area. And then draw it a little rounder edged here because it's mud. It's, you know, it's flexible, right? It's not a solid part of his body. It's very flexible. Let me make sure the stream is still up. Yeah, it's up. I see the icon down there. Let's see. Also, the taskbar should be lowering. Taskbar settings. Automatically hide the taskbar in desktop mode. Yes, thank you. That's what it should be doing. I don't know why I haven't had that on. Anyway, so that is Stonehold drawn. That is Stonehold. So now, hold on, let me make sure I didn't put anything on the wrong layer. Okay. We get rid of all this, pull this back up, and we start drawing V on outer 1, inner, I should do inner 1. Shadows and shine can be fine, and then color 1. Yeah. So I have 2 shading layers for V because I think, for Little Miss Steel, because I think I'm going to need it for her. Ugh. I had to use 2 lines for her hair. That's the thing about V's hair is I kind of regret the way I've done it. Like, it requires me to do multiple lines to do this first swoop here. It requires me to do at least 2. And I wish, in hindsight, I wish I would have made a design that could have been done in just one line tool. Swoosh. But it's alright. I'll live with it. It's not like I would make a horrendous mistake as to make a 6-armed character. Pfft. I could never. Yeah, that's something like I've said multiple times, is like I sincerely regret giving Peter from Demonico 6 arms. In the moment, it felt like, this is the coolest thing ever. Simon, you thought Simon was tough because he had 4 arms? This guy's got 6! And it's symbolic because he's a demon and 6 is the devil's number, and, you know, and all of that. You know, it kind of, in the moment, it felt like it was a cool thing. But man, having to draw 6 arms. And the thing is that Demonico isn't even like a full comic. It's a hybrid novel. It's basically a book with pictures, which is like its own art form. I'm not saying it's a lesser work because of it, but because I had to draw less, it shouldn't have been a big deal, but it just was. It was annoying for me to have to draw 6 arms every time. I'll never do it again. The maximum number of arms I will go to for characters is 4. I'm never doing more than that. Maybe asking the line is here in your drawing. Why aren't you drawing it there? I drew her too skinny. V canonically is a little thick because she's kind of lazy, or at least she was. Now she's trying to be better. So I need to draw her a little wider overall. I think like just from the waist, then I'll be good. Yeah. Oh yeah, let me post them live. View your channel. Yeah. I need to post this to Discord. Announcements. Live streaming before Little Miss Steel #2 drops Friday. Paste. There we go. But yeah, I've been trying to be more active in Discord, and I think it's paying off. I have a more understanding of my community now. What they like, what they don't like. I should do like this. Yeah. You know, what they enjoy when it comes to my art the most. I've kind of figured that out a little bit more. It's nice. And I want to, I want to continue to do community stuff on there. I post art. I post like daily art on DeviantArt. Usually it's like, just some fun OCs, or maybe it's a fan art or something. I'll post a sneak peek of it early on Discord, so people in the Discord feel like they got some kind of a some kind of an extra, some kind of a bonus for being involved. And that's been pretty good. I get to see people's reactions to the teasers before it actually goes out, and that's pretty good. I will say though, and it's just because I've fostered most of my fan base off of DeviantArt, and there's no offense, I'm not knocking on the guys who comment. I love your comments. Keep them coming. I have no problem with the stuff you're commenting unless I specifically reach out and tell you I have a problem with it. My community is very... How do I want to say this? I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible. My community loves thick girls. thick Latinas, thick white girls, thick black girls, it doesn't matter. If they thick, my community loves them. And you know what? That's fine. I enjoy drawing. What a brain. Okay, yeah, that was my dog. I heard a noise and I was like, what was that? But it was most definitely my dog. Let me see if she's trapped herself. What up, babe? What up, babe? Come here, baby. There she is. There she is. She is getting up to mischief. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. My community is more prone to liking thick anime girls, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. I enjoy drawing multiple types of people. I have no problem with it. But the comments can definitely, like, it can definitely seem like I only get one type of comment sometimes. And it's less of the case now than it was. It's getting better. I think people are starting to become more genuinely interested in my art as a whole than and like the stories of characters and stuff like that than just neuron activated. Which again, if that's all you follow my accounts for, no issue. I have no problem with you at all. Like, you are just as valid and welcome into the community than anyone else is. But it's definitely true that my community has a type. They like their characters a little thick / chubby. And it's like, okay. So they probably that's probably one of the reasons that they like V. Which, if that's your only reason why you like V, I hate to tell you, but she's actually going to be getting thinner and more physically fit as the comic goes. That's the whole point of me starting her off a little on the chubby side, so that you get to see the physical change in the character, the physical growth in the character from the start of her journey to the end, right? It's good. It's good stuff. It's physical, it's visual storytelling, and I strive to do a lot more visual storytelling so I don't have to rely on, dialogue as much, or I don't have to rely on exposition, right? There's nothing worse than, like, you're sitting down, you're watching the movie, and then it's a huge exposition dump. Star Wars did it, and it kind of, like, made that one of its trademark things. But it's like, anyone else does it, and I'm like, easy route, but okay. As long as the movie is good, I'll take it. And then Rebel Moon tried it, and Rebel Moon is one of the worst movies I have ever watched. I left a scathing review when it dropped. I could not finish it. It was so bad, I couldn't do it. And maybe there's an alternate timeline where I'm a teenager when this drops, and I'm like, yes, this is everything I want Star Wars to be. It's so cool and dark and awesome, just like me. And maybe and maybe that version of me like Shadow the Hedgehog too. But I know people love Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic as a whole, and the new movie coming out is looking pretty good for Sonic fans, and I know he's a beloved character. Okay, look, he's an edgy hedgehog, man. I mean, like, there's nothing really more to him other than the memes, and I love the memes. He's just a black and red version of Sonic that's cooler. I mean. I never got too much into Sonic. I did play the old games. I played Sonic 1 and Sonic 3, and I love those games. I played the one on the Game Boy as well. I played the Pinball, Sonic Pinball. I played that. I played a bunch of the 2D games. I never got into the 3D games, and I think I made the right choice. Because every 3D Sonic game I've ever seen gameplay of, or watch someone else play it on YouTube, they are a buggy mess. With a lot of weird jank and just not well put together ideas. But people love the games anyway. And I almost want to say it's similar to Pokemon, where Pokemon produces the laziest slop games every 3 years and get paid billions for it. I want to say Sonic does the same thing, but the difference is that Sonic does not copyright strike fan games as insanely as Nintendo does. So Sega has better reputation in the gaming culture than Nintendo does. Sega does what Nintendo don't, some might say. And in a lot of ways, that's true. This is looking good, man. I'm really liking how this looks so far. Save. Butterbean, what are you doing, Butterbean? Leave me alone. I am working. I am working. Go play with this. Play with that. Oh my goodness. She's already back. That was supposed to distract her. What is man to do? Come here. Butterbean is my dog, by the way. She is almost 2 years old. What's next? Oh, excuse me. Dude, the Subspace Emissary was so good. Had some of the best music ever. Don't even try and fight me on that one. Don't even try. Had a pretty good story to it, too. Nothing too deep or complex, but it was pretty cool. When the, what was the thing called? It wasn't the Grand Wizard, but it was, it was something like that. Something Minister. The Grand Minister? It was something like that. But it turned, like, you know, it spoilers, I guess. It gets, you know, the base is getting attacked, and all the Robs are going to, you know, they're grabbing the bombs, and they're like, we need to blow up more of these bombs so we can swallow everything into subspace. And then the Prime Minister, the Grand Minister, something like that, he gets in front of them, and he's like, no, he doesn't say anything, of course, because there's no dialogue in this. This is a Nintendo game we're talking about. And he's just like, no, brothers, we need not sacrifice ourselves. And the Robs are like, boop, boop, get out of the way, we need to nuke the universe, boop, boop. And then they start shooting at the minister. And he catches on fire, and they move past him, but then all of a sudden, boom! He bursts out of his green robe and reveals that he is also a Rob. The first Rob. The only one with free will. And basically he's like, I'm done sacrificing my people. Or whatever. And he joins the good guys. Vucky ABX. With a car for the profile picture. Welcome to the stream. Hello. We do be streaming on a Wednesday. Before Thanksgiving! Dog, leave me alone. Leave me alone, dog. I am busy. Please. I will, you know what? I'm gonna grab you. Come here. Come here. She won't let me pick her up. It's something that she does. When she knows I'm trying to pick her up, she won't let me do it. Whoa! Come here! No! She won't let me do it. She's too quick. She's too small, too slippery. Don't take that out of context. Which by saying it makes people more likely to do it. And the Streisand effect and I've nude myself! But anyway, Subspace Emissary was amazing. It was great. Truly, we will never get something like that again. And yeah, World of Light was kind of cool, but it did not hold a candle to Subspace, man. So much more character interaction with that. So much more lore. The enemy designs were just completely wicked. If I may use verbiage from my own comic, it was wicked. Unlike any Nintendo enemies we had seen before. And it was just kind of a breath of fresh air. And then this Final Destination theme. Oh! Does anyone remember the video? It's a TAS of, I think it's Fox and Falco 1v1ing, and they're going so fast that it's like it's almost like they're teleporting. And this is in Brawl. They were so fast that they were like almost teleporting. Every time they got hit, they would tech off the wall, and it went into overtime, sudden death, and there was like, bombs falling from the sky, and oh man, it was so cool. That video, I need to watch that video again, just for the nostalgic feel of it. Nope, never seen it. It's I can't even tell you what to look up to find it. Honestly, I can't even tell you. It's like Fox versus Falco, Smash Brothers Brawl. And at the time, like whenever I was watching it, I was like 13. I was watching that. I didn't know it was tasked. I didn't know it was like two computers punching each other according to the code that the guy put in. I didn't know that was the case. I thought it was real people doing this. And I was like, whoa! Blew my mind, man. What even is that instrument? Is it an instrument? Like, I don't know what they use to achieve the sound of video game music sometimes. And then like this calm little segment here. It's so good. I genuinely think that Brawl might be the worst Smash game competitively, gameplay wise, when it comes to like, competitive 1v1 matches. It might be the worst, but it is certainly the most ambitious, with the best soundtrack, in my opinion. And best story mode. Don't fight me. Don't at me, as the kids say. How do you do, fellow kids? Or whatever that guy says. I don't know that actor's name. I don't know his name, but I've always just sort of thought he makes me think of Barney Fife. And depending on your age, you might not even know who Barney Fife is. And technically, I probably shouldn't know who Barney Fife is either, but my parents put it on the TV all the time growing up. So I know Andy Griffith, man. His real name is Don Knotts, by the way. The actor's name is Don Knotts. That's who the guy who says, "How you doing, fellow kids?" That's who he makes me think of as Don Knotts. Okay. But yeah, Steve Buscemi. Yeah, that is him. That is him. I don't know him from a lot of movies where he played live action, like he was physically acting the role. But I know him from like, Monsters Inc. He was what's his name? Sid, the purple like chameleon monster. And then recently, he's voiced Starscream in Transformers 1. Phenomenal movie if you haven't watched it. And he's a perfect Starscream. He is a perfect voice for Starscream. They didn't even need to do any vocal editing on him. He just is a perfect voice for Starscream. Butterbean, what are you doing? You are begging me to throw the sock. No, I was gonna pick you up. Let me do it, please. Let me pick you up, please. Come here. I want to show you off on stream. Look at this. Look at this little baby. Look. Look at this. Ah! Baby. Why must you lick? Sniff the microphone, please. Close enough. Alright. Now leave me alone. Sure, one used voice editing. Oh, yeah. Transformers 1 used it whenever... I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, just in case you're speaking from, like, secondhand knowledge and have not seen it. But there's a point where his voice is natural, and then there's a point where his voice is no longer natural. It's got some editing to it. I'll say it that way. What a good movie, though. I'm thinking... I've thought about doing a review for it many times, but it's kind of hard for me to put it into words without just copying other people who have said it better than me. And I think a lot of people, I think at this point in time, I think just a lot of people have said it better than me. That got way off. Butterbean, you must leave me alone, please. I am trying to concentrate. Please let me be. Let me go back to Brawl music real quick. You know what the best song in Brawl is, though? It's this one. I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna turn it up so I can enjoy it with you. I think I'm gonna draw her neck a little bit differently. Listen to the synths. So good, man. This is a Mario song. This is a Mario song, man. And the thing is, if you think this is the best it gets, just wait. So good, man. Do you know how to find script writers to hire? I don't, unfortunately. I don't really have... If you're talking about, like, movies, scripts, and stuff like that, like, I have no experience doing that. Like, I do have experience writing. Because I've written... a comic, 2 hybrid novels, and some novels, but I'm kind of busy at the moment. Mario song from where? It's Super Mario Land. I'll turn it down now. It's from Super Mario Land, which is an old game at this point. And it's just it completely, like, it takes the melody of it and just completely revamps all the instrumental for it. Like it's if you put them side by side, you could understand that they're the same song, viewed from different lenses. But like it's so over the top done. It's just it's I don't know. It's just one of the best remixes from that game. And then this one, this one is just like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a 2000s rock song. But I mean, please. You are very cute. You are very cute. Yes. You are very cute. Chew on the rope. You want it? Go get it. But it's the Super Smash Bros. Brawl remix. I'm just playing video game music because that rarely gets copyright struck. Okay, let me start doing the coloring. Music Mania. Do you know anime? My Hero Academia. I am not into anime as much as I used to. I got into anime in high school, as many people do. And I started, you're gonna cringe. I started, my first anime was, not counting Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't count it. My first anime was Sword Art Online, which I think I was like 15 when that was coming out. So, you know, it was a big thing at the time. Everyone was watching it. Everyone was telling me, you know, hey, if you like anime, you should watch this. Or if you haven't watched anime, you should start with this one. And I mean, I enjoyed it. Now, My Hero Academia, no, they think I'm cringe. The thing with Sword Art Online, not Sword Art Online, My Hero Academia. I did start watching that. How do I paint it the wrong color twice in a row? Anyway, I did. Oh, yes, right. This is going to be gray. So I painted it wrong 3 times in a row. I did start watching My Hero Academia. I got out of it mainly because I kind of just realized I'm not the biggest fan of anime tropes. Like, and this wasn't necessarily My Hero Academia's fault. This wasn't really My Hero Academia that did it for me. It was another anime I was watching at the same time, which was Demon Slayer. There's, I'm not gonna say which character it is because I don't want to spoil it, but there's, at some point in season 1, at the end, there's a antagonist. There's an antagonist who dies, and instead, and as the antagonist is dying, it plays almost a whole episode is flashbacks of that character's life. There's flashbacks of that character's life up until that point, saying why this character was a bad guy, or why the other characters that surrounded him were bad, or whatever, why they were antagonists or whatever. And I remember watching that, and I'm like, just the sword is cutting through his neck. His head is falling off. Why are you giving me backstory on the guy you just killed off? Like, why? Now, Demon Slayer obviously has a lot of fan base. I'm not gonna dare say that it's a bad anime. But it was kind of annoying watching in the moment. I'm like, I would rather be doing anything. Oh yeah, I need to give this a little bit of a blue color. I would rather be watching almost anything else than this villain's backstory as he is dying and will no longer be any use to the plot at all. Like, it's just like, it's just, anime has that trope, and another one where during a fight, the fight will pause very often or be in slow motion very often so we can hear every character's inner monologue, like what they're thinking about during the fight. And as someone who, in high school, it didn't bother me because I had plenty of time. As someone who became an adult and started working full time while also trying to do other stuff like art, I got less patient for anime characters to tell me their inner monologue all the time. So just anime overall, just like anime kind of just became less for me, and that's fine. What's the last anime I watched? What's the last one I watched to completion? This is tough. Don't tell anyone about I'm not allowed to watch anime, but I still do. I won't tell anyone. I don't know who you are, so I can't really... You have no risk of me telling anyone. You know anyway. But the main thing... I can't remember what the last anime I watched to completion. Oh, I do remember. It was Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix. I watched that one all the way through. That was okay. That was a pretty good one. Had its highs and lows. The way that Netflix did the seasons was kind of weird. Flat Zone 2, get out of here. We want rock and roll kind of music. Or orchestral vibe music. What are we getting at? Message retracted. What was that? What was the message retracted? I want to play the new Linkin Park stuff, but I can't because because copyright. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot I got a color. In the fingers. The fingers. Yeah, okay. So, but yeah, anime just kind of hasn't been for me in recent time. Shows I have watched recently. Well, let me give you my anime recommendations because these are ones that I would be willing to go back and watch today. Like these are ones that I feel like I could watch today and not waste my time. Death Note, phenomenal anime. Probably one of the best detective versus criminal dramas ever made. Visually very good looking. All live action remakes have failed to capture the essence of it. Even with Willem Dafoe voicing him. It just didn't have the sauce, man. It just the show just the writers did not have the sauce. But I love that for Willem Dafoe. I love that. He is 100% Ryuk. Little lesser known anime here. Angel Beats. Not anal beads. Angel Beats. And it's pretty good. It's very short, only 13 episodes. But it is very good and very sad. It's kind of like another anime I watched was Madoka Magica, which is another really sad one. That's short. That one was also very good. But Angel Beats is just something about it, man. Every time I watch it, I cry. And friend at school, who got me into the anime. I think she was the one who got me into it. And I would show her. I was trying to get her to do something. I can't remember what it was. I was trying to convince her to I don't know, play a game or do something. And I was like, if you don't, I'm gonna play that episode of Angel Beats that makes us cry. And she's like, no, don't do it. And then as I was playing it, she was starting to cry. And I was like, no, I went too far. Oh, man. But yeah, it's like it's a really good one. It's only 13 episodes. I think it had like budget cuts or something, like where they had to just wrap it up in one very short season. But it was very effective with that. They made the most effectiveness with their time possible. And going back to My Hero, I like a lot of aspects of My Hero Academia, but I feel like, why are you sniffing me? I feel like My Hero Academia tends to get bogged down by too many characters. I mean, it's enough to have, a class full of characters. Some of them are going to be main characters, some of them are going to be side characters, and some of them are going to be comedic relief, like the Grapehead kid. And like, that's inevitable. You're going to have that. It's a fact of writing a show with that many characters. She's going crazy with that toy. But the problem I had was just like there was a certain amount of characters that I was interested in, and when they're not getting the screen time I want, when they're not getting like the really cool plot lines, it was annoying. And I understand that's a problem for probably me and a subgroup of fans. That's probably like a very niche, well, maybe not a niche issue, but like it's a selective issue. It's a subjective issue, I should say. And I was like, I'll pick it back up someday, and I just haven't picked it back up. Forgot to draw the rest of the booty. Here we go. There we go. But yeah, anime definitely influenced, my art style and my writing a little bit too. But, as time passes for me, I tend to look back at the cartoons I watched, the American cartoons I watched, more fondly than I do anime. Like, I feel like the cartoons I watched growing up had more impact on me than anime did. Because anime is like, I don't really remember a whole lot of life lessons I learned from anime. I can't really think of any off the top of my head from anime. But as a kid growing up watching stuff like Teen Titans, there's a lot of aspects about life, like a lot of good life lessons that I learned from that cartoon. So I tend to look back at those more fondly. What other animes have I watched? I haven't finished Attack on Titan, and I probably should, because I watched that stuff when it was coming out back in high school. Let me tell you. That was the show. That was the anime when I was in high school. Sword Art Online and Attack on Titan, man. And what I love about Attack on Titan is the visuals. Like, no other anime looks like Attack on Titan except for the was the Viking one? I need to finish watching that. I did start watching that last year, but I can't remember what it's called. But that one is very good. That one is also very good. But Attack on Titan and that anime have such a distinct look. The studio really knows how to make stuff look dramatic. And and just so striking, like so obvious. Like this is this studio, this is the quality of work that we put out, and it looks great. It looks phenomenal. And they kind of, they kind of have a thicker outline on the characters, which is what I do. So maybe subtly Attack on Titan influenced my art style a little bit, but it's mainly Danny Phantom. It's mainly Danny Phantom on the thick outline of characters. That's where that comes from. It's not Attack on Titan, but I can say it subconsciously. Maybe it worked its way in there. Okay. Save. I'm a spastic saver. You don't know how many times I've wanted to punch myself for forgetting to save after like an hour's worth of work. It sucks. It sucks. And then you close and then you didn't save it and it's gone forever. No worse feeling. No worse feeling. I'll say this. I had I paid someone to do a review of, not like a video review, but like just a private review of Little Miss Steel 1. And I asked about the effect I do for Little Miss Steel to make her look shiny, to make her look metallic. And I asked, like, how does that look? And her critique was that it didn't really, for her, she didn't really like it. And I kind of, she made a suggestion, and I was like, yeah, but I don't know. And I played around with it a little bit. Her critique was the soft shading. She didn't like the soft shading. She preferred hard shading. And like I get the critique, but I think that's a criticism that I have filed under personal preference, like subjective art. That's I've kind of filed it under that. Because like I think the effect looks good. I think the point of me drawing her like that is to make her skin look unique to anything else. Now, did I do nothing in response to that critique? No. I went from using 100% softness on the brush to 50%. And it's kind of a compromise. Like, it's sort of an in-between sort of, thing here that you can still see. Like, there's some softness to it that makes it look unique. But it's not losing the initial intent I had with it, right? I've changed it up a little bit, but it still has the same flair that I wanted to put on it. And so, some people hate to receive it, but criticism is good. Criticism is just good. It is. And it's important for you to be able to learn how to take it without taking it too personally. Very important skill to have. Is to be able to do that. And the reviewer I had it wasn't just the art. I had, I got critiques about some of the writing of the first issue. I recognized some of the weaknesses, some of the strengths as well, and some of the things that I thought were maybe a little more subjective, and I prefer them. I prefer it if the the YouTuber who did it is Dan Fan. If she thinks it makes the story flawed, then that's okay. But I prefer the story largely how it is. Now, are there things that I could do in hindsight better? I would say yes, of course. Naturally. But there's nothing super bad that I think it's worth redrawing. You know, treading old ground before I move on to the next thing, right? I'm going to exclude this that I just drew and include everything else. I think the dark looks a little bit too dark, but I don't want to make the white less opaque. That strikes it a little bit better for me, I think. I think that looks a little bit better here. Yeah. Now, as for the shadows, I think we're gonna go 30 on this. Uh-oh. No. I knew it. There we go. That fixes the problem. I just thought I thought the shading on the arms looked a little too harsh, so I wanted to tone it down a little bit. The same thing with the blue. I think it's a little too harsh, so I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. Colored shading changed the game for me. I used to just do everything, you know, black layer of shading. Colored shading changes the game, man. Because, like, the skin tone here, I think it's too harsh on it. Bam. What's that? The brightness is too harsh. Bam. Brighten it up just a little bit. Bring that up to 30. Look how much more colorful that is. So much better. And you know what? I'm going to draw some right here, too. Oh, too much. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to put some on this thingamahoozin. And that's about it. So that's really it for her. Save. Oh, hold on. Forgot that one. That was pretty good overall. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe a little more rounded edge. Also, I forgot to do this up here as well. Let me look over it one more time. Okay, shading is good. So let's bring back in Stonehold. We're almost done. We're almost done. Stonehold is back. As for the background, I've already drawn it. People who have been following for a while will know it. It's the bank. I believe I streamed myself drawing this. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. Bring in the title. So for the background, oh yeah, I forgot I got this too. Do I want to put that in front or behind the characters? Definitely behind. And I think in this case I want to reverse it. Yeah, yeah. So the main issue is that the background is a little too busy for the logo to stand out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the good old gradient tool and just do a little bit of this. And then I'll use this same tool to draw a little shadow under Stonehold. Yeah, looks pretty good. The only thing is like, the light is coming from up here. So that's the only thing about this. Maybe instead of the bank, should I use the warehouse? Warehouse looks pretty good, but I should remove the cop car. And let me try the daytime one. How does the daytime one work? Yeah, this looks kind of good. This is kind of good. Let me open up cover 1 again. So I can grab this layer and just do that. Yeah. Yeah. Does it look better reversed? I think it does look a little bit better reversed. How about not at all? Looks a little too plain that way. Let me take the title. I'm just going to take the subtitle layer off because I don't have anything on it. Drop shadow. Do it like 90 degrees down. Do it a little bit like that. Make it stand out a little bit more. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good. I do think I want to do a tone layer which for me is 60 opacity on overlay for the blend mode. And now, for me, this is going to include this is going to include everything that's not the characters. Inverse it, paint it, and then we're going to put this layer back on and see how it looks. Yeah, it's starting to look a little more right with the environment. What happens if I just do the whole thing? Looks a little more intense, for sure. Maybe a little too vibrant. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, maybe something like this. Lots of red to it. And the last thing I want to add, and this is super simple. I'm just going to select the color of Stonehold's eyes, paste it on V's color layer, and then just start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. Okay. And then I'm going to select only this, and it's important that I do that. I'm going to hit that Gaussian blur. And give him that glowy eyes. There we go. Put the title back on. And then for the subtitle, I've updated. I've updated it, but I'm not sure where it is. Others? It's not here. It's on the flash drive. Random stuff. Yep, there it is. The logo. Put a drop shadow on that as well. Something like that. Turn the shadow back on, turn the effects back on. I think we got ourselves a pretty good Comic Book 2 cover, guys. I think we've done it. Looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good to me. We're going to save that as a PDN. Then save it as a TIFF. Cover 2, TIFF. Alright, guys. I think that's it for me. Looks like everything's looking pretty good here. I may revisit this again tomorrow and see if there's anything I want to change. But for now, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with it indeed. And I think you guys will be happy with Little Miss Steel #2 Friday when it drops. So stay tuned for that. And thanks so much for watching this stream. Appreciate it. Check out my other videos. And Follow me on social media. Join the Discord to get involved with sneak peeks and to art. Follow my DeviantArt where I post every day. And that's pretty much it. So, with that being said, till next time, peace out.